I bet you didn't know the US just gave Ukraine the green light to use banned landmines. This decision has sparked a heated debate across the globe. This controversial decision, approved by President Biden, aims to slow Russian advances in eastern Ukraine. The US administration argues that these measures are necessary to bolster Ukraine's defenses. However, it flies in the face of the Ottawa Convention, which bans these deadly weapons, a treaty Ukraine ratified in 2005. The Ottawa Convention, also known as the Mine Ban Treaty, was a landmark agreement aimed at eliminating the use of anti-personnel landmines worldwide. The West has long condemned Russia for using landmines, highlighting the grim aftermath, shattered playgrounds and maimed children. The images of innocent lives torn apart by these hidden killers have been used to rally international condemnation against such practices. But now, with geopolitical stakes high, these humanitarian principles seem expendable. The urgency to counter Russian aggression appears to have overshadowed the long-standing commitment to humanitarian norms. The mines to be supplied are non-persistent, becoming inert after a set period, but the danger remains. While these modern mines are designed to deactivate after a certain time, the risk they pose during their active period cannot be ignored. Civilians, including children and farmers, will still face long-term risks. The presence of landmines in agricultural fields and near residential areas can disrupt daily life and pose a constant threat to those living in conflict zones. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov accuses the US of escalating the conflict, and several embassies in Kiev have closed due to potential threats. The diplomatic fallout from this decision is already being felt, with heightened tensions and increased security measures in the region. This decision underscores a troubling double standard. When moral principles are weaponized for propaganda but discarded for convenience, what message does that send? The inconsistency in applying these principles raises questions about the true motivations behind such decisions. The Ottawa Convention was a landmark in banning weapons that kill indiscriminately, yet now Ukraine, with US blessing, is set to deploy these same mines. This move not only undermines the spirit of the treaty, but also sets a dangerous precedent for other nations. This tragic reversal reminds us, hypocrisy in war knows no bounds. The selective application of humanitarian principles in times of conflict reveals the complexities and contradictions of international politics. When principles are abandoned for convenience, who will stand for the victims? The victims of landmines, often civilians, are left to bear the brunt of these decisions, raising urgent questions about accountability and justice. The international community must grapple with these ethical dilemmas. The decision to supply landmines to Ukraine has reignited debates about the balance between military necessity and humanitarian responsibility. Humanitarian organizations are voicing their concerns. Groups dedicated to protecting civilians in conflict zones are calling for a reassessment of this policy, emphasizing the long-term consequences for affected communities. Activists around the world are mobilizing. Protests and campaigns are being organized to demand a halt to the use of landmines and to hold accountable those who authorize their deployment. The legacy of landmines is a painful one. Survivors of landmine explosions often face lifelong challenges, from physical disabilities to psychological trauma, highlighting the enduring impact of these weapons. Legal experts are weighing in on the implications. The decision to supply landmines to Ukraine may have legal ramifications, potentially violating international treaties and norms. Diplomatic efforts are crucial in resolving this issue. Engaging in dialogue and seeking peaceful solutions should be prioritized to prevent further escalation and to uphold international humanitarian standards. The focus should be on rebuilding and healing. Efforts to restore normalcy and support affected communities are essential in the aftermath of conflict, emphasizing the need for sustainable peace and development. The world watches closely. The actions taken by global leaders in response to this decision will shape the future of international relations and the commitment to humanitarian principles. In the end, the hope for a better future remains. Despite the challenges and contradictions, the pursuit of peace and justice continues to inspire efforts to create a safer and more humane world.